All right. So, hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited that you're able to join us for today's webinar on walking for health, fun, and fitness. My name is Kate Welshons. I'm an educator here at Extension, and I'm joined today by two of my wonderful colleagues, Jimmie Johnson and Trina Adler. So, Jimmie, if you could go to the next slide here. All right, so just a couple of quick things before we dive into the content this afternoon. For those of you who might want or need captions, you can look for that CC button at the bottom of your Zoom window. And I think it might look a little bit different depending on what device you're using, if you're joining us on your laptop or a desktop or a computer. So you might need to hover over the bottom of your screen with your mouse. And if you're not seeing that CC button, you can look for a button with 3 dots. I think they're in a horizontal line. Mine is showing up at the bottom right hand of my screen. It says more. So once you find that captions button, you can click on it and it will toggle the captions on or off. All right, so we can go to our next slide. Okay, so we have a quick poll for everybody, and we're just wanting to know a little bit more about where folks are at with their walking journey. So maybe you're just getting started, maybe you're already walking on occasion, say if a friend or a family member calls you up and asks you to go for a walk, maybe you'll join them. Or maybe you're someone who's joining us today with a lot of walking experience and you're looking to level up. So it looks like we're still getting some responses in. So we'll just give this another 15 seconds or so. All right. Okay, I'm seeing a whole mix of responses. We've got some folks getting started, quite a few occasional walkers at 53%, and then we have some experts among us, some seasoned walkers. Just a few more responses coming in. All right. I think that is almost everybody, so I'm going to end that poll. Can probably see some of those results now, so still kind of shaking out how we initially thought. We had some folks just getting started, some that are right in the middle there, maybe looking for some new tools or resources, and then some experts who have joined us or maybe looking to level up or have some tips or tricks that they can share with all of us. All right, so we can go to that next slide. And I'm going to pass things off to Jimmie.
Kate, is there a way to get that poll off of here? It's I can't. Let me see here. Okay. All right. Oops.
You should be able to hit the X
Yeah.
in the top right hand corner. Hopefully that will remove it for you.
Just my slides not going back here. Sorry, I'm having problems getting back to my last slide here. And I hit that poll. Let's see. All right, I'm going to start with this here. I'm going to avoid that. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to start with maybe the origin and the history of walking. So what we know is that the oldest evidence actually comes from fossils of the earliest humans on Earth. At that time, humans walked on all fours and primarily came out of the trees to be able to adapt to their environment, to hunt, gather, garden, and things like that. So basically, walking upright was a way to survive in the diverse habitats where humans existed. And so what I've done here is I have a short video from the Smithsonian Institute, and there is no words or sound with this video, so don't be alarmed about that, but it just kind of gives a historical perspective for walking. So I'll show that next here. Next slide here. I am still not able to control those slides here. I don't know.
No problem, Jimmie, I can see your screen. Oh, there they are. Yay.
Okay. Moving forward. So sorry about that. Let's look at how a walking program fits into our overall lifestyle for health and fitness. So I want to pay your attention here to the physical activity guidelines for Americans. And this is developed by the Department of Health and Human Services, and also the American College of Sports Medicine. And it's basically evidence-based practices, resources to help Americans gain the maximum benefits of being physically active. Okay. Next slide here. Here it is. So the guidelines recommend when we're looking at adults, when we're looking at aerobic activity, which is what walking is, we're looking at 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic movement. And then we also want to add in 2 days per week there of some form of muscle strengthening activities as well. So weight lifting, body weight movements, calisthenics, dumbbells, machines, things like that. And then the way to, when we look at aerobic movement, it's broken down into light, moderate, and vigorous. What we're looking at here is moderate intensity, and that's going to be anything that slightly raises your heart rate, raises the heart rate. Vigorous intensity aerobic movement would be when it's hard to talk, you're gasping for breath. So when we're talking about walking, we're talking about moderate intensity aerobic movement. So walking provides many benefits physically, mentally, and socially. The physical benefits can include helping to maintain a healthy weight. So weight management can help there. It also helps strengthen your bones, your muscles, your skeletal system. Mentally, walking has shown to really help with improving your mood and then helping you to focus. So those are two things that I think all of us can use our day-to-day, our lives. It can also help improve your balance and your coordination. And then really what we have found is that walking has wonderful social benefits in terms of an opportunity to connect with other people and friends and family members as well. And then also there is a really great financial benefit with walking as well, low cost and easy access to do it, get started. When we're preparing to walk, just a few things that I think would be helpful here. Number one is if you have any existing health problems, chronic health issues, it is advised that you do consult with your doctor or healthcare provider first, just to make sure that you're good to go there. It's really important before any physical activity that we warm up the body. That just helps to reduce injuries, warms up the tissues, the muscles, the tendons, preparing the body for more vigorous exercise. So we want to make sure that we're doing a lot of stretches for the lower body, our calves, quadriceps, hamstrings, and ankles. And it's just a guide is usually we talk about holding each one for at least a minimum of 10 seconds each one, and you could do that 2 times. And then also sorry to see that slide there. Footwork is shoes are important. Comfortable shoes are helpful. Make sure that they fit, not too tight, too loose. Ankle support is good. And then also inviting some friends along with you as well that can help with accountability ability and just make it more enjoyable. And then I also have just a short video here of just the proper form while we walk, just paying attention to where the upper body should be, our spine alignment. And so I'm gonna play that here for you.
Whether walking or running, proper form is important. When you're walking for distance, proper form is going to help you get the most out of your miles. Here are some tips to help you get started. First, we'll focus on the upper body. When walking, it's important to keep your arms bent to 90 degrees without tension in the hands. They need to be low and relaxed without crossing the body. Moving the arms back and forth like a pendulum will keep the body from twisting side to side. The shoulders should be low and relaxed without leaning.
I can't hear anything anymore. I can't hear anything. Sound is all gone.
I can hear you. I just can't hear the video.
Yeah, me neither.
I think who is ever running the video it's because you're on mute. Might be you, Jimmie, that you're on mute and we can't hear it.
He is on mute, yep. So I missed the last 4
Whether
minutes.
walking or running, proper.
How about now?
Yep, that's working, Jimmie.
Okay. Here we
I
go.
don't hear anything.
Okay, I'll play it here again. Here we go.
Whether walking or running, proper form is important. When you're walking for distance, proper form is going to help you get the most out of your miles. Here are some tips to help you get started. First, we'll focus on the upper body. When walking, it's important to keep your arms bent to 90 degrees without tension in the hands. They need to be low and relaxed without crossing the body. Moving the arms back and forth like a pendulum will keep the body from twisting side to side. The shoulders should be low and relaxed without leaning forward. Keep your chest and head up to allow for better breathing. Look ahead like you would driving a car. Now we will take a look below at your feet. Walkers spend a lot of time on their feet, which makes each step important. Focus on the heel to toe transition while landing lightly and making sure to push off with the big toe. Keeping a nice even stride without overstepping will reduce the force going into the legs, keeping them feeling fresher longer.
All right, so I'll try to get out of here again.
All right, thanks, Jimmie. Hi, everybody. I'm Trina, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit, especially the group of you who identified yourself as beginner walkers or just getting started. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about getting your walking habits started. I guess, to start, I want to acknowledge that a new habit is really hard to start. So have a lot of grace and forgiveness of yourself as you're getting into this. And I want to share one thing that my daughter said to me that I think has been super helpful in me in maintaining a walking habit over time. There was one day when I was just starting out to walk on a regular basis, and I was making every excuse in the book to not go out on a walk. I can't even remember why. Maybe the weather was crummy or I just wasn't in the mood. And my daughter said to me, "Mom, no one ever regrets taking a walk." And I have clung to that mantra ever since she said that to me, out of the mouths of babes, right? So my daughter is the one that really motivates me to continue in my walking habit. And so maybe that's not your mantra, maybe that one doesn't work for you, but come up with some kind of phrase or something that really can help motivate you to get out there. What I encourage you to do if you're just starting out walking is to go really light with your initial goals. Don't set yourself up for goals that are unattainable. 5 minutes a day, walking to the end of the block and back, 5,000 steps in a day or 3 days a week. Those are super manageable goals that you'll be able to achieve right off the bat. And you'll be able to exceed those really early on in your walking habits. And then you'll feel super good about yourself, right? If you only, if your goal was to only make 5 minutes and you made 10, then look at what you've done. You've exceeded your goal. Keep your initial goals reasonable. Keep them, actually set the bar really low for yourself so you can be sure to meet those goals. Next slide, Jimmie. It's always helpful. Well, I'm not going to say always. For many people, it is helpful to kind of track your progress when you're starting a new habit. And so I highly recommend for the first few weeks that you're walking to keep track of how much you're walking and when you're walking. And you can do that in any way that makes sense for you. You can do it just, keeping a list on a piece of paper or marking some things on your calendar. There are a lot of great apps to track your walking, which I use one called Map My Walk because I like the map feature on it. Kate's going to talk about some other apps that you can use, but it's really good idea to be able to look at where you've been and where you're going. And you will notice really shortly with walking that you're going to be able to increase your length and your time. And it becomes a habit that actually, is really achievable for you. Next slide, please. I really encourage you, Jimmie has said this as well, I don't think I can say it enough, that finding a walking partner can really keep you accountable to your walking goals. It also makes the walk just far more enjoyable to have somebody to be able to talk with, to be able to complain with, to be able to express joy with. It's all great to have somebody walking with you. Next slide, please. And along those lines, it's really great to share that with somebody that you've started a walking habit and to share with them your progress. That becomes a way that you can celebrate what you've done. It keeps you accountable. I mean, there's nothing like that embarrassment of saying, oh, I started a walking program and then having to report back, yeah, I haven't actually been walking. You really want to be able to use your friends and family as ways to keep you motivated in your walking. And so definitely share with people when you've started a new walking habit. And now I'll pass it back over to Jimmie.
Thanks, Trina. So there may be some of you here that are more experienced walkers at this time, and you're looking at a way to what we call level up your walking program, which is basically we're just talking about increasing your fitness level. So just the one tip I wanted to give you today that I think is useful is there is a test that we use in the fitness industry. It's called the Rockport test, the walking test. And basically what it is you're you map out a course of one mile. And then what you're trying to do is decrease the amount of time it takes you to walk that one mile. So then based on that, you can look at the age group here that you fit in, 20 to 29, then we have 59 and over. And you can look at how it goes from excellent to poor. But rather than this is good, because oftentimes people say you should walk further and further and further. And you can do that, but if you want to, keep it to that 1 hour a day, half hour a day, 15 minutes, or the distance that you like, this is one way to look at that instead. And so you can look at that there and use that as a guide. Another way is what we call interval training. Interval would be where you go from low intensity, and then you pick it up intensity, and then you go back down again. So remember early on when we talked about light, is the heart rate is slightly elevated. What you could do is go for a walk, and then say for a distance, or time it. 30 seconds is often good. You would then go to a brisk walk fast, raising that heart rate up, and then bring it back down again to light in intensity there. And that's another way to use walking to improve your overall cardiorespiratory fitness, if that's something that you're interested in doing. That next slide here does not want to move. Let's see here.
So before we get started talking about safety and enjoyment with walking, the irony of us all sitting in front of our computers and watching a video about walking has not escaped me or Jimmie or Kate or probably anybody else on this call. And so I'm going to be talking for about the next 5 minutes. And I'd like to encourage any of you who have the option to do so and would like to do so, to stand up and walk in place over the next 5 minutes, so we can say at least we've got 5 minutes of walking done during this webinar. So stand behind your chair, by your table, by your desk, wherever you happen to be. And there's just going to be pictures on the screen, so you don't have any heavy reading to do, and you'll be able to follow along and get a 5-minute walk in. So I'm going to talk a little bit about safety with walking. Safety is an important consideration when you're walking, and especially those of us who live up north here, we deal with fall, winter, spring, where it gets dark early and it might still be dark in the morning before we're getting ready to work. And so maybe the prime times of day when we're able to walk are dark. Really important to not only see, but be seen. So the first thing I'd like to recommend is if you are going to find yourself walking in the evenings or when it's dark, get yourself a headlamp. It's really easy to trip and fall on uneven surfaces outside when you're walking. Obviously you can, I would highly recommend finding indoor spaces to walk when it's dark, or if the surfaces are not very even. But if you're going to be out walking in the dark, then a headlamp can be a really great tool when you're walking to keep you safe. Also, wearing reflective gear, you want to be seen by cars and bicycles, other pedestrians. And you can get those, the vests that they use in construction there. You can find them all the time at thrift stores. Just make sure you get a big enough one so that it can fit over that winter coat when you're walking on cold days. Next slide. These slides are vexing you today, aren't they, Jimmie?
A delay for some reason here.
Yeah. That's okay. Everybody's getting a really good walk while they're waiting. Okay. Again, based on where we live and some of the conditions that we might find ourselves in outdoors, I really encourage you to think about walking in the winter. I think this past winter was one of the worst ever for icy sidewalks and surfaces for walking. Crampons can be a really big help. If you can see on the picture on the left of your screen there, those they're like spikes that you can add to the bottom of your boots and shoes to be able to give you a little more stability on ice. I am not saying to you that they're 100% guarantee that you won't slip. I've even used them on gravel surfaces that are loose, just for a little bit more stability. And walking poles are also a great addition to your walking gear. You might think that they look kind of goofy when you're using them, but they actually give your upper body a nice workout while you're walking, and they can really help with stability. So, and you can get them pretty inexpensively. Next slide, please. A water bottle. I'd always recommend hydration when you're walking. If you're going to be out in the heat or out for a long time, pack that water bottle in a little backpack and bring it along with you, because that just makes for so much more pleasant walk when you get thirsty. Next slide, please. Your phone is also a safety device for you when you're on a walk. If you get far away from home and find that you're not feeling well, or you get lost, or the weather changes, it's really nice to be able to use that phone to call a friend to get picked up and helped out when you're in a situation that you didn't expect on your walk. I also have encountered a lot of problems with dogs on my walks. There are certain neighborhoods in my community where I just simply can't walk because I know that they don't tie their dogs up. And when those dogs come running to me, even if they're just happy, exuberant dogs and want to jump up on me to say hello, I'm pretty little, and that can be pretty scary for me. So I do carry pepper spray with me, mostly for dogs, because I'm just a little worried that they're going to come after me and knock me down. Next slide, please. Okay, one other thing that I do keep emphasizing, so does Jimmie, that is a really great safety tool for you, is having a friend with you on your walk. It's always great, to have somebody with you. And then when you add the benefit that they can help out if something goes wrong, yet another reason to consider walking as a social activity, and bring a friend along. Next slide, please. So we talked a lot about making walking safe, but I think it's also important for us to think about making walking interesting, right? I've mentioned time and time again, bringing a friend along and just having somebody to walk with, or joining a walking club, just to get some different perspectives and enjoy different people while you're walking. Walking a dog can also make your walk very interesting. I know for mine, it's almost an exercise in frustration, because she doesn't want to go quite as fast as I want to, because there's too many great things for her to sniff. But I do take my dog on walks regularly. Exploring time in nature on your walk, what kind of wildlife can you see, or just being able to be more cognizant of the seasons when you're out in nature is a great way of keeping walking interesting. If you see that picture of the cat in the stroller on the upper right-hand corner of your screen, we had a walking class here at Extension, and we asked folks to bring their cameras along and just take pictures of interesting things while they're on a walk. And this was one of the pictures that our participants came up with. You see so many interesting things on a walk that you'd never see when you're in a car or under other circumstances. So it's fun to just be mindful, keep your eyes open for interesting things. And the other thing is to pair walking with another hobby. My daughter is an avid birder, and she will go out birding, and she gets so involved with looking for birds that there are days when she's come back and there have been 30,000 steps on her phone counter because she's been walking so much to see birds. So that's another way to make walking interesting, and get absorbed in something so you don't even notice that you're walking. Thanks, Jimmie. And you all have been walking for exactly 5 minutes now. So you can keep going, or you can sit back down and take a break for, I think Jimmie's up next, or maybe Kate.
Thanks, Trina. All right. So we just have a couple of highlighted resources here. that we wanted to share with everyone. Some of them might be useful. Some of these you're maybe already using. I'm going to go over these fairly quickly, but we can send out a full list of these resources, as well as the videos that Jimmie shared and some of the other information that Trina had shared to everyone who joined today, with those links and just a little additional info about each resource. So first off, Google Maps. I didn't know about this until recently, but it has some really cool functionality that allows you to map out your own walking route. So you can customize things, add places to your map, you can share with others, so send it out to your friends and family. And then you can also import features from another map file. That for me is a little bit too technologically savvy, but I know some of my friends would love doing that and sharing that with me. So it's just a great way to customize your walking route. MyFitnessPal, it's another tool. It's an app that you download on your phone, and that repeatedly comes up as a favorite with a lot of folks here at Extension or some other folks that take some of our other classes, and it allows you to track your steps as well as some other physical activity or nutrition goals. I believe you can also import your steps from another tracker, like if you wear a Fitbit or just use, if you have a smartphone, sometimes that can automatically track your steps. And if those aren't good, if that's not a good fit for you, another great low cost option is purchasing a cheap pedometer. I think there are several different brands that you can purchase for $10 or less. And then I always have to remind myself that you don't need any technology or fancy app to track your progress. You can always rely on a good old pen and paper and track your progress on, a calendar that you hang up on the wall, or just in a notebook on a sheet of paper. And then just one more quick mention about All Trails. I've heard a lot of great things about that. I've never used it myself, but we have several colleagues that use it when they're traveling somewhere else, within the state here in Minnesota, or just in their local community. And it can help you map out walking routes as well as finding trails in your area. So I think it has an option to search where you can search for a specific trail name if you're an active hiker. Otherwise, you can just enter in your city name or a zip code, and it will pop up with all of those options that are near you. And then also the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources website, they have a web page that lists all the different parks that are located throughout Minnesota. Just as a quick FYI, I believe on June 10th, that all 75 Minnesota state parks and recreation areas are offering free admission to everyone. And then I believe there are 2 other dates later this year. I'm not exactly sure on the specific dates, but you might want to mark your calendars. And then there's also the Minnesota State Park Library Program that provides free 7-day state park passes for checkout, and that goes through June 2025. That's not everywhere in the state, that's select libraries, but we can provide that information in the resource list that we send out to everyone after today's webinar. Then U of M Extension, we also have a website called Real Life Good Food. It has a lot of information on nutrition and healthy eating, of course, but there are also some really great resources related to physical activity. A lot of them feature Jimmie in some of our videos. So there are warm up and stretching videos and tools. There's a page on there on how to use a pedometer, a video on how to properly use walking poles, and we have some other templates and tools that you could use to track your goals. Next slide, please. Okay, so then just some additional resources we wanted to share. County websites are a great place to check out to see if there are any walking programs in your local area. Social media can be a great place to join a walking support group or participate in a walking challenge. And if you can't find something that's a good fit for you on social media, you can always start your own. And then again, that's another instance where you don't need social media to start your own walking challenge. Maybe that's something you want to start with your kids or your friends and family. Some other things that, like Trina was talking about, we do live in Minnesota. It's cold, it's icy. So luckily we're heading into spring here pretty quick. Doesn't quite feel like it, but thinking ahead in the winter, if you're looking for a warm, non-slippery place to walk in the colder months, check out a mall in your area or even a local school gym that they have walking hours available. There are a couple of different local healthcare organizations. United Healthcare comes to mind. They have some great resources on walking where you can plan out your route. And it includes information on the distance, how many steps it might take you to complete the route. So you might want to check that out. And then, of course, all of us here at Extension, we really encourage everyone to reach out to us here, whether you're looking for a specific resource on walking that we mentioned today, or you just want some general information related to our other programming, we would be happy to help you out. So we can go to the next slide. So I know we're running close to the end of our time here together today, but does anyone have any specific questions or follow-up comments on anything that was talked about today? Feel free to, add questions in the chat, or you can also unmute yourself.
It looks like a lot of excuse me, people like to take pictures as they walk. That showed up in the chat box here, so that's interesting. Anything else you guys would want to ask us while we're still here? Let's see here. Are we able to send copies of the PowerPoint to people?
Yeah, we can definitely send out a copy of the slides, and then we'll include a link to all of those resources that we talked about today. So that way you don't need to do a long, exhaustive Google search. You can just click the link and check that out. Seeing a couple of questions about, where I can find information about local walking groups, or how do I get signed up for those state park passes. So we'll include all of that information. Toby just said that there's a Twin Cities hiking club on Facebook that I know of. That's awesome. I'm not familiar with that, but I feel like you can always crowdsource a lot of great information. All right. Well, and like I mentioned before, say you leave today's webinar and you have a burning question, you should have all of our contact information in the webinar reminder that was sent out to folks. So feel free to email myself or Jimmie or Trina. And Jimmie, if you want to go to the next slide here, we just have a couple of housekeeping items. Okay, so we have a couple of different options for those who are looking for that certificate of participation. Everyone's going to be sent a webinar evaluation today that we'd encourage you to complete. And in the evaluation, you can request a certificate that will be sent to you. And then just a reminder for those of you who are U of M employees and might have spouses that are covered by the university's medical insurance, that in that webinar evaluation, you can also request 200 well-being points for attending today's webinar from the Office of Human Resources, and there'll be instructions in that evaluation that you can complete. So next slide, please. I think the next slide is just on evaluation, just a reminder that's going to be sent out to folks. It's really brief, should only take you a couple of minutes. And then there might also be a select group of folks that will receive a follow-up evaluation in about a month from now. And this is all just to help us learn about how you use the information and resources, learn about what you'd like to learn from all of us here at Extension in the future. And then you'll also have an access to that playlist of all the recorded webinars in the series. And if you want to hit that next slide, Jimmie, I believe, we're wrapping up our spring series webinars. There might be one or two left here in the next week or so, but you can use this QR code or that Z-link that's included on the slide here. And again, we'll send all of these out to folks, but that has all of our webinars that are coming up as part of our summer series, which is Yes, just saw your chat come in, Danielle. We can add that to the chat and it'll also be emailed to you as well. So I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you all so much for joining today's webinar. Thanks for your patience as we're dealing with some technical issues on the back end. A lot of great tips shared from everyone, and we hope to see you, if not next week for our webinars, but sometime this summer for our summer webinar series.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day and rest of the week. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye now. Have a great afternoon. Go out for a walk.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi guys, nice to see you.
It's so good to see you.
You too. Nice
Cool.
job.
Hope all is well in your world. We miss you.
I miss you guys too. Take care.
See you later. Okay, I think all the folks that were kind of hanging on, I just put them back in the waiting room. We did it.
That was clever. I didn't know you could put people in the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, we're still recording. Oops.